Hey guys, tonight we're taking a journey back to the glittering, gossipy, and unbelievably intricate world of 18th-century European high society. But we're not going to be talking about grand ballrooms or dramatic duels. We're going to dive into the surprisingly complex and utterly secret language of the handheld fan. You'll be a wide-eyed young lady, newly arrived in this world of whispers and hidden meanings. And you'll quickly learn that every flick of the wrist, every slow fold, every coy flutter holds a message. Your social survival, and perhaps your romantic future, will depend on your ability to master this silent art. Prepare to be charmed, confused, and perhaps a little scandalized by the language of the fan. You arrive in the city on a carriage, jostled by the cobblestone streets. It is a grand European capital, perhaps Paris, or London, or Vienna, a bustling, vibrant tapestry of sights and sounds. The air is thick with the mingled scents of horse manure, fresh bread, expensive perfume, and, faintly, coal smoke. The streets are a river of humanity, elegantly dressed ladies and gentlemen, uniformed soldiers, bustling merchants, and a scattering of beggars. Everything feels impossibly old and impossibly new at the same time. Your eyes, accustomed to the simpler rhythms of the countryside, are wide with wonder. You gaze out of the carriage window, trying to absorb every detail, and then you notice it. Something almost everyone, every lady, every respectable gentleman, is carrying: a fan. It is not simply a tool for cooling oneself. That much is immediately clear. You see ladies holding them with a delicate, almost ritualistic precision. They are not merely fanning themselves. They are performing a slow, languid flutter, a quick, short snap, a coy peek from behind a closed screen. Each gesture seems imbued with a meaning that is utterly lost on you. You see a young woman in a particularly elaborate gown fan herself with a slow, deliberate movement, her eyes fixed on a man across the street. He returns her gaze, a subtle, almost imperceptible tilt of his head, and then she snaps the fan shut with a sudden, sharp click. What just happened? You have no idea. This ubiquity of the fan, its constant presence in every social setting, is the first bewildering clue to its importance. It is in every carriage, every drawing-room, every opera box. It is carried at balls, at promenades, at even the most casual afternoon visits. It is an indispensable accessory, as essential as a lady's bonnet or a gentleman's sword. Historians of fashion and social customs will later spend a great deal of time and effort reconstructing the precise rules and meanings of this secret fan language. Was it a universally understood code, or did different circles, different cities, have their own subtle variations? Was it truly a secret, or merely a polite, subtle form of public communication? The consensus is that it was a mix of all these things, a widely understood code, with enough regional and personal variations to allow for nuance and playful misinterpretation. You feel a sudden, sharp pang of inadequacy. You are well-dressed. You believe you have practiced your curtsy. You know the proper way to address a duke or a countess, but you are missing something fundamental. You are missing the language. You are like a child at a grand ball, understanding the music but utterly deaf to the conversations. The coach turns into a wide, elegant street lined with tall, stately townhouses. It pulls up before one of them, a building with imposing iron gates and gleaming brass knockers. This is your new home in the city, where you will live with your aunt, Lady Beatrice. She is a woman of immense social standing, known for her sharp wit and her even sharper eye for detail. She is also never, ever, seen without her fan. As the footman opens the carriage door, you step out onto the cobblestones. You look at the grand house, then back at the street, where a young lady with a particularly beautiful fan is walking by, holding it perfectly still, pressed against her lips. You have no idea what that means, but you know, with a sudden, overwhelming certainty, that you must learn. You must unlock the secrets of this silent, flattering world. Your social education, do you realize, is just beginning. Your first evening in Lady Beatrice's grand townhouse is a blur of new experiences. The air is thick with the scent of beeswax polish, expensive furniture, and the faint, sweet aroma of drying lavender from the servants' quarters. You meet a flurry of bustling maids, stern minus-faced footmen, and a series of distant, unsmiling relatives who seem to glide through the polished hallways like elegant ghosts. You are exhausted, overwhelmed, and still acutely aware of your social inadequacy. You have seen a dozen fans since arriving, each one held or moved with a strange, unspoken significance that tantalizes and baffles you. You feel like a person who can hear sounds but not understand words. After a light supper, in your private sitting room, Lady Beatrice, your aunt and formidable social guide, sends for you. You find her in her dressing room, a lavish chamber draped in silken velvet, filled with the soft glow of oil lamps. She is seated before a vast, ornate dressing table and her own fan, a beautiful, delicate thing of painted silken carved ivory, lies open on the table beside her. "My dear," she says, her voice a low, melodious purr, "I trust your journey was not too taxing." You look a little provincial. She smiles, a faint, knowing curve of her lips. "But we shall remedy that." She gestures to a velvet minus-lined box on her dressing table. "For you," she says, a gift, your first necessary accessory. You approach the table with a thrill of anticipation. She lifts the lid of the box, and there it lies, nestled on a bed of soft, white satin. It is a fan, your very own fan. It is not as grand or as ornate as Lady Beatrice's, but it is beautiful nonetheless. Its sticks are made of polished sandalwood, their delicate carving hinting at distant, exotic lands. The leaf, the main part of the fan, is made of fine, cream-colored silk, hand painted with a charming scene of pastoral innocence, a shepherdess tending her flock in a sun-dappled glade. It smells faintly of something sweet, perhaps the wood, or perhaps the paint itself. You pick it up. It feels lighter than you expected, yet surprisingly sturdy. The silk is cool and smooth beneath your fingertips. You open it with a gentle flick of your wrist, and it unfolds with a soft, whispery sigh, a sound like a tiny, captive breeze. It is elegant, it is beautiful, and it is utterly, intimidatingly silent. "Now, my dear," Lady Beatrice says, watching you with a keen, appraising eye, "do not simply wave it about like a common farm girl swatting flies." She closes her own fan with a sudden, sharp snap. "This," she says, tapping the closed fan against her wrist, "is not a toy. It is your most powerful weapon. It is your voice, and it is your shield." This moment, the presentation of the first fan, is a symbolic initiation. It is your formal entry into the polite, subtle, and often brutally competitive world of 18th-century European high society. Historians of material culture often debate the significance of such personal objects. Was the fan truly a weapon of social power, or was it merely a fashionable accessory? Its language more a charming social game than a serious form of communication? The truth, as always, is likely a nuanced combination. It was both an elegant prop and a potent tool for those who mastered its silent grammar. A strange and specific detail about the origins of these fans is their global journey. While you receive yours in Europe, the art of fan making, particularly the folding fan, originated in the East, likely in Japan or China. These delicate, beautiful objects traveled vast distances, sometimes taking years to reach European markets, where they were then adapted and imbued with new, secret meanings. Your fan, with its painted silken sandalwood, is a product of this hidden global trade, a small piece of distant art now made to serve the precise, unspoken needs of European etiquette. Lady Beatrice leans forward, her expression serious. "Tomorrow," she says, we begin your education. We will learn its alphabet. For now, practice holding it and try not to look quite so bewildered. You nod, your heart a mixture of excitement and trepidation. You are holding a beautiful object, but you know that within its delicate folds, a whole world of secret meanings lies hidden. A world you are about to try and unlock, one silent gesture at a time. The morning after receiving your fan, your formal education begins. You are not sent to a finishing school or given a pile of books. Your classroom is Lady Beatrice's private sitting room, and your textbook is the fan itself. She sits in a high-backed armchair, her own fan resting open on her lap, while you sit opposite her, your newly acquired fan clutched nervously in your hand. The language of the fan, my dear, Lady Beatrice begins, her voice as crisp and precise as the snap of a fan closing, is not taught in polite society. It is learned. It is a secret alphabet, a whispered grammar, passed from knowing aunt to eager niece. And it is a language that will serve you far better than all the French you may ever learn. She demonstrates the very first lesson. She opens her fan slowly, then closes it with a deliberate, soft movement. This, she says, is perhaps the most basic. The fan held open, and then slowly closed. It is a sign of dismissal, of boredom. You are saying, you weary me. You try to mimic her, that your movements are clumsy, hesitant. Your fan opens with a faint rustle, but closes with a clumsy clatter. No, no, my dear. She sighs, a hint of exasperation in her tone. It must be fluid. It must be effortless. It must appear as though the fan closes of its own accord, drawn by the sheer dullness of the conversation. She then teaches you the opposite. The fan held wide open, and then snapped shut with a quick, decisive movement. That, my dear, this I am impatient. For, in some circles, I despise you. Context, as in all languages, is everything. You practice for hours. Your fingers ache. Your wrist feels stiff. The elegant fluidity that Lady Beatrice displays seems impossibly out of reach. You try to snap your fan shut, and it either flutters uselessly or catches on your dress. You are like a child learning to form letters for the first time, clumsy and painfully obvious. This deliberate, physical practice, repeated hundreds of times, is the only way to master the nuances of the fan language. It is a form of embodied knowledge, where the meaning is conveyed not just by the specific gesture, but by the speed, the force, the angle, the very attitude of the movement. This is a skill that fascinates historians of gesture and communication. In an era where direct verbal expression of strong emotions or desires was often considered impolite, these non-verbal codes provided a vital, subtle outlet. A strange and specific detail about the origins of this secret language is its probable roots in theatrical performances and masquerade balls, where anonymity allowed for more daring communication. Over time, these gestures seeped into polite society, becoming codified and refined, a subtle rebellion against the very strictures of etiquette they were meant to uphold. Lady Beatrice moves on to the more intriguing gestures, the ones that hint at courtship and dassiginess. The fan pressed to the lips, you are permitted to kiss me. The fan drawn across the cheek, I love you. The fan slowly lowered from the face, I am not interested. The fan twirling in the left hand, we are watched. The fan twirling in the right hand, I love another. The complexity is dizzying. Each gesture has a precise meaning, but also subtle variations based on speed, duration, and the angle of the fan. You realize that to misinterpret a signal could lead to anything from social embarrassment to a ruined reputation. To inadvertently declare I love you to a boor, or I am impatient to a powerful duke, could be disastrous. You practice the gestures, trying to imbue them with the effortless grace that Lady Beatrice displays. You are told to make them almost invisible, to keep them subtle, so that only the intended recipient, or a truly keen observer, will understand. The language of the fan is a whisper, not a shout. By the end of the day, your head is spinning, your wrist is throbbing. You are still miles from mastering this secret alphabet. Your movements are stiff, your gestures painfully obvious. You close your fan with a loud clatter and sigh in frustration. Lady Beatrice, however, merely smiles. Do not despair, my dear, she says. Perfection takes time, but the important thing is that you have begun. You have taken your first steps into a world where silence speaks louder than any word. Tomorrow, we shall try again. And tomorrow, she adds, a mischievous glint in her eye, we shall go out into society, where you may put your clumsy grammar to the ultimate test. The rigid lessons in Lady Beatrice's sitting room continue for days. You practice the precise opening and closing, the subtle turns and dips, the exact angles of the wrist and fingers. Your muscles ache, your concentration wavers, but slowly, painfully, your movements begin to gain a semblance of fluidity. You are no longer just fumbling with a piece of silken wood. You are beginning to understand its grammar. Now, Lady Beatrice announces one morning, her voice bright with a hint of challenge. Today, we will learn to hide. She holds her fan, not open, but half mine is closed, its delicate sticks forming a narrow screen. She places it casually before her face, just below her eyes. She speaks, her voice a calm murmur, but her eyes, peeking over the top of the fan, are full of a mischievous glint. The fan, my dear, is not merely for communication. It is for concealment. It is your most elegant veil. She teaches you the art of the hidden smile. When a witty remark is made, one that might cause a lady to giggle or blush too freely, you do not simply smile openly. You lift the half-minus closed fan to your lips, subtly hiding the lower part of your face. Your eyes, sparkling over the top, are now the only visible indication of your amusement. This allows you to convey humor, even delight, without ever revealing the full, unvarnished expression. Thy full, open laugh, my dear, Lady Beatrice instructs, is rarely elegant. It is too robust, too revealing. The fan allows you to laugh with your eyes, to hint at your pleasure, while maintaining a proper air of delicate reserve. You practice this. You imagine a particularly amusing piece of gossip, and you lift the fan. Your first attempts are awkward. You either hide too much of your face, making yourself seem aloof, or too little, making the gesture seem pointless. Your fan rattles against your chin. Your eyes, instead of sparkling with hidden mirth, stare with earnest concentration. This use of the fan for partial concealment, for framing the face or hinting at emotions, is a key element of its social utility. It turns the act of observation into a tantalizing game. A man must work to understand the true feelings behind the veil, making the interaction more engaging, more intriguing. This is an idea that fascinates historians of gender and performance. For women of your era, whose public expression was often highly constrained, the fan provided a subtle, powerful tool for self-minus presentation, subtle rebellion. A strange and specific detail about this particular use of the fan is the varying degrees of concealment. A fully closed fan pressed to the lips might be a sign of deep thought or guarded secret. A partially opened fan, held low to reveal only the eyes, might be a sign of coy flirtation. The subtle variations were endless, each one a whisper of meaning. Next, Lady Beatrice teaches you the art of the veiled observation. When someone particularly dull is speaking, or a bore is holding forth at length, you do not roll your eyes or yawn. Instead, you hold the partially open fan before your face, covering your mouth and perhaps part of your nose, but leaving your eyes fully visible. You can then let your gaze wander. You can allow a flicker of boredom or impatience to cross your features, knowing that your more direct expressions are safely hidden behind the silken ivory. This, my dear, Lady Beatrice spurs, demonstrating with a perfect, elegant yawn that is entirely concealed by her fan, is how a lady maintains her composure in the face of profound tedium. Only your eyes, which must remain polite, will betray you. You practice the bored look. You sit opposite her, listening to her deliberately dull recital of a family tree, and you lift the fan. You try to let your eyes express the profound weariness you are beginning to feel. You accidentally blink too slowly, and your fan slips. Lady Beatrice sighs. But you understand the power of it. The fan is a physical boundary, a delicate but firm shield between your private self and the demanding gaze of society. It allows you to control what is seen, to hint at what is felt, without ever fully committing. It is a tool for managing your own emotions, for maintaining your composure, for preserving the delicate facade of aristocratic grace. You are learning not just a language of communication, but a language of self-protection. And in the complex, gossipy, and often ruthless world of the 18th-century court, this might be the most valuable lesson of all. Your first foray into the buzzing social world of the Countess's drawing-room is both exhilarating and exhausting. You return to Lady Beatrice's townhouse that evening, your mind reeling from the silent symphony of fans you witnessed. You are still a novice, but the sheer power and pervasive nature of the fan language has been undeniably revealed to you. The next few weeks are a whirlwind of social engagements. Lady Beatrice insists you attend every call, every tea, every evening gathering. Your days are filled with the seemingly mundane rituals of polite society, but to your newly trained eyes, they are a constant, complex ballet of unspoken communication. You attend a literary salon, a gathering of wits and poets. Here, the fan language is more subtle, more intellectual. A quick, sharp tap of the fan against the chin might indicate agreement with a philosophical point. A slow, thoughtful closing might convey polite disagreement. It is less about flirtation and more about intellectual engagement, a silent dialogue unfolding beneath the spoken words. Then, an evening at the theater. This is where the fan language reaches a new level of performance. You sit in your private box. The plush velvet seats a comfortable vantage point. The stage below is filled with actors, their voices soaring, their gestures dramatic, but your attention is not entirely on the play. Your gaze drifts to the other boxes, particularly the ones where the most fashionable ladies and gentlemen are seated. Here, the fan language is an on-stop, chaotic symphony. A lady in a nearby box fans herself rapidly, her eyes fixed on a gentleman across the aisle. I am desperately hot. Or perhaps, I am terribly agitated. A young man taps his closed fan impatiently against his knee. This play is a bore. A married couple, sitting stiffly apart, communicate volumes with barely perceptible gestures, his fan held flat against his chest, her fan tapping rapidly on her lap. It is a world of silent, private dramas unfolding in public. This use of the fan in social settings, particularly at the opera or theater, is a richly documented phenomenon. It allowed for simultaneous, layered conversations to take place. While official polite conversation might be about the weather or the play, the real business of society flirtation, gossip, intrigue, and even business deals could be conducted discreetly, under the very noses of the unaware. Historians of social behavior are fascinated by this ingenuity, this human ability to create complex communication systems within seemingly restrictive environments. A strange and specific detail about the opera house is the deliberate design of the boxes. While they are grand and ostentatious, they also offer a degree of privacy. This allows for both the display of one's wealth and status, and the discreet conduct of personal affairs using codes like the fan language. The architecture itself facilitates the secret conversations. You find yourself becoming increasingly adept at reading these unspoken signals. A sudden, sharp snap of a fan in another box now immediately signals silence or danger. You see a man slowly draw his fan across his heart, and you instinctively know he is sending a message of love or devotion to someone across the room. You find yourself anticipating the hidden meaning, predicting the next gesture. Your mind, once overwhelmed by the chaos, is now sorting, interpreting, understanding. But you are not just an observer. You are becoming a participant. Lady Beatrice encourages you to send your own subtle signals. You might use your fan to politely shield your mouth when you whisper a comment to her, a gesture that prevents slip-minus reading. You might tap it lightly against your palm to signal "let's talk" to a passing acquaintance. Your own movements are still hesitant, sometimes clumsy, but you are learning. You are finding your voice in this silent, complex world. The evening at the theater, with its double performance of a play unstaged, a human drama in the boxes, leaves you exhilarated. The fan is no longer just a beautiful object. It is a tool of immense power, a key to unlocking the true, hidden currents of society. You are learning to read the invisible lines that connect people, the unspoken desires and unspoken insults that weave the fabric of your new world. The court's murmurs, once a baffling noise, are now beginning to sing a clear, albeit silent, song. Your education in the intricate dance of flirtation and dismissal continues. Lady Beatrice ensures your social calendar is full, moving you from quiet afternoon calls to more public and demanding arenas. Tonight, you are to witness the fan language at its most flamboyant, its most intense, a swirling, silent symphony of human drama, the opera. You arrive at the Grand Opera House, a glittering temple of art and society. The building itself is a marvel of architecture. All gilded balconies, plush velvet seating, and towering chandeliers that cast 1,000 sparkling lights. The air is thick with the scent of expensive perfumes, warm bodies, and the faint, exciting aroma of anticipation. The orchestra is tuning, a chaotic jumble of strings and brass that slowly resolves into a harmonious prelude. Your opera box is a private world, a small, velvet-lined sanctuary high above the stage. It offers both a perfect view of the performance and, more importantly, a panoramic vista of the entire, intricate social landscape of the audience. From here, you can see every other box, every face, every fan. The moment the lights dim and the overture begins, the true opera unfolds, not on the stage, but in the boxes around you. It is a spectacle of silent communication, a ballet of flickers and folds that is even more captivating than the performance below. Hundreds of fans, ranging from delicate, painted silk to grand, feathered creations, begin their tireless work. You see a woman in a box directly opposite yours, her face lit by the stage lights. She holds her fan open, then slowly closes it, looking directly at a gentleman in a box several rows below. This, you remember from Lady Beatrice's lessons, is a bold signal "I am impatient," or, perhaps, a more direct "I dislike you." The gentleman, with a subtle clench of his jaw, seems to understand perfectly. He gives his own fan a sharp, aggressive snap, a clear "I acknowledge your disdain," and I return it. This simultaneous, layered communication in opera boxes was a well-known phenomenon of the era. The opera was as much a social event as it was an artistic one, a place to see and be seen, and, most importantly, to conduct the silent business of society without words. Historians of theater and social customs often remark on this duality. Was the audience truly engaged with the performance? Or was the stage merely a backdrop for their own, more compelling dramas? The answer, for many, was firmly the latter. A strange and specific detail about the opera house is the deliberate design of the boxes. While they are grand and ostentatious, they also offer a degree of privacy. This allows for both the display of one's wealth and status, and the discreet conduct of personal affairs using codes like the fan language. The architecture itself facilitates the secret conversations. Lady Beatrice, seated beside you, points out various examples of fan mastery with a soft, knowing murmur. Observe the Countess du Bois, she whispers, indicating an older woman in a box to your left. She uses her and to express every nuance of her boredom. Notice the languid, almost imperceptible closing when the tenor holds a note too long, and the subtle, yet devastating. Flick of the wrist when the soprano hits a false note. The fan is not just a tool for cooling. It is a critical reveal. You see a young couple, clearly new to the city, sitting in a box near the stage. The young lady is fanning herself rapidly. Then eager, almost frantic motion, her eyes darting nervously around the room. Her fan is simply a fan, used for air. Her attempts to use the subtle language are clumsy, likely unread. Her movements are too large, too obvious. She is broadcasting her nervousness, not a secret message. You remember your own first awkward attempts and feel a pang of gentle sympathy. Then, you spot him, a handsome young man in a box across the horseshoe. His dark eyes sparkling. He catches your gaze. He slowly, deliberately, draws his half-minus closed fan across his lips, then glances away. You feel a sudden blush, hidden by the dim light of the box. You remember that signal you are permitted to kiss me. Your heart gives a sudden flutter, a rhythm that is almost as frantic as the young debutante's unuttered fanning. You know, instinctively, that you must reply. You bring your own fan, a beautiful, delicate thing, to your lips. You hold it there for a moment, letting the message linger. You do not return his signal exactly. Instead, you slowly, languidly, drop your fan from your face, letting it rest open on your lap. Then glance back at him, holding his gaze for just a moment longer than polite. You are signaling I am interested, or perhaps I am available. Without quite committing to his bolder invitation, you are learning to play the game. The opera continues on stage, its soaring arias and tragic plot unfolding. But for you, the true drama, the most complex and fascinating performance, is unfolding in the hushed, glittering boxes around you. The fan, a simple accessory, has become a living, breathing extension of desire, of wit, of boredom, of love, and of hate. You are learning to read the silent symphony, and you are beginning to play your own small part in its intricate, unspoken melody. Your training with Lady Beatrice continues, pushing beyond the simple binary of yes or no, love or disdain. The language of the fan, she explains, is not merely for declaring interest or cutting down a bore. It is also for conveying the vast, messy, and often very inconvenient spectrum of human emotions that might arise in the polite, yet endlessly tedious, world of high society. You are learning to express complex feelings, even when you still feel clumsy doing so. Lady Beatrice instructs, holding her fan open, then slowly closing it, letting the last few sticks tap against her palm with a soft, almost imperceptible rhythm, can sometimes be truly, profoundly bored, not merely feigning boredom for effect, but truly, utterly, soul-minus crushingly bored. The fan, she purrs, demonstrating the gesture again, is your most eloquent sigh. You practice this. You imagine a particularly lengthy sermon, or a tedious monologue from a visiting dignitary about the merits of drainage systems. You try to let your fan slowly, almost imperceptibly, close, as if weighted by the sheer dullness of the moment. Your first attempts are too abrupt, or too shaky. It looks less like boredom and more like a nervous tick. Lady Beatrice insists on extreme slowness, almost a glacial pace, the longer it takes to close. My dear, the deeper the boredom. Then comes impatience. She snaps her fan open with a quick, aggressive flick, holding it wide for a moment, then snapping it shut with a decisive whack. This, she says, is hurry up, or I am tired of waiting, or, if delivered with particular force, my patience has run out, and your tediousness is testing the very limits of my composure. You try the impatient snap. Your fan responds with a satisfying crack. It's silkily vibrating with contained frustration. You imagine waiting for a delayed carriage, or for a particularly slow-witted footman to serve tea. It feels remarkably liberating to express such an unladylike emotion with a mere piece of wooden silk. This ability to convey nuanced emotion through the fan allowed ladies of the era to subtly control social interactions. They could accelerate a conversation by signaling impatience, or cool a heated discussion by conveying a sense of serene disinterest. It was a form of emotional regulation, not just of their own feelings, but of the social atmosphere around them. A strange and specific detail about the practice of fan language is its regional variations. While many core gestures were widely understood across Europe, certain cities, or even specific social circles developed their own subtle, idiosyncratic interpretations for more complex emotions. A gesture that meant "I am vexed" in London might mean "I am amused" in Paris, leading to wonderfully awkward, de fois, misunderstandings. This has led to a gentle debate among historians how universal was the fan language. Really? Was it a single, codified lexicon, or a family of related dialects, constantly evolving and adapting? Lady Beatrice moves on to anger. Eighth, and dropped sharply to the floor. I am furious. Ethan tossed carelessly onto a table. I am utterly disgusted. These, my dear, are for extreme moments. They are the equivalents of shouting, but far more elegant and far more devastating, for they break the very fabric of polite composure. You shudder at the thought, to drop your beautiful fan in anger, to risk its delicate sticks and silk leaf. It seems almost unthinkable, but you understand the power of such a gesture. It is a moment of controlled, deliberate chaos, a single act of rebellion against the endless demands for decorum. You practice the expressions. You try to convey polite interest with a gentle, rhythmic fan. You try to convey disdain with a slow, deliberate closure. You try to convey amusement with a hidden smile. Your body is slowly learning to speak this intricate, beautiful, silent language. Your fingers and wrist are becoming extensions of your mind, translating your innermost thoughts into elegant, unspoken signals. By the end of the day, your head is spinning with the vastness of this emotional vocabulary. You are learning that the fan is not just a tool for cooling or flirting. It is a subtle, precise instrument for human expression, a nuanced recorder of the soul. You are gaining a new understanding of the complexities of social interaction, a world where the unsaid holds as much weight, and often far more power, than the spoken word. The fan, you realize, is not just about conveying messages. It is about controlling the very flow and feeling of a conversation, a quiet conductor of the social symphony. Your proficiency in the fan's emotional vocabulary, from subtle boredom to veiled anger, has earned Lady Beatrice's grudging respect. You are no longer a mere novice. My dear, she declares one morning, a faint hint of approval in her tone. Your grammar is sound. Your accent, while still a little rustic, is improving. Now, it is time for you to truly speak. Tonight, we attend a grand ball at the palace. The grand ball is the ultimate arena of 18th-century European high society. It is a whirlwind of music, motion, and social maneuvering. A place where fortunes are made and reputations are shattered in the space of a single dance. You spend the entire afternoon preparing. Your gown is of the finest silk, intricately embroidered, its wide skirts requiring careful navigation through doorways. Your hair is elaborately powdered and piled high, adorned with ribbons and a single, shimmering jewel. Your fan, a new one for this grand occasion, is a masterpiece of painted satin and intricately carved mother minus of minus pearl, a thing of breathtaking beauty that feels impossibly light and powerful in your gloved hand. You arrive at the palace in a carriage, joining a long procession of glittering conveyances. The vast ballroom, when you finally step into it, is a dazzling, overwhelming spectacle. Hundreds of candles flicker in colossal chandeliers, casting a warm, golden glow on a sea of swirling silk gowns, gleaming uniforms, and powdered wigs. The air is thick with the scent of perfume, hot wax, and the heady aroma of ambition. The orchestra plays a lively minuet, its music a vibrant, relentless pulse that sets the rhythm for the entire room. And everywhere, in every hand, is a fan. The fans are a visible labyrinth of whispers, a silent, swirling symphony of communication that weaves through the entire ballroom. They are constantly opening and closing, fluttering, tapping, twirling, each movement a tiny piece of an immense, unspoken conversation. To the untrained eye, it is simply a charming, decorative flourish. To you, with your newly honed understanding, it is 1,000 simultaneous dramas unfolding before your eyes. You watch as a young man, a handsome hussar officer, approaches a group of ladies. He bows. One lady, a known coquette, fans herself rapidly, then suddenly snaps it shut and glances away coyly. I am terribly interested. You must pursue me. She is screaming silently. Another lady in the same group, perhaps a rival, slowly and deliberately brushes the tip of her fan against her cheek, leaving it resting there. I am engaged. Or, more precisely, I am taken by another. You are not for me. The entire exchange is conducted without a single meaningful word, all under the polite cover of exchanged pleasantries. This density of non-verbal communication at grand social events is a significant aspect of 18th-century etiquette. It allowed for multiple, discrete conversations to occur simultaneously, a sophisticated form of multitasking in a social setting. While a direct verbal conversation might be about the weather or the quality of the punch, the real business of the ball, the clandestine flirtations, the quiet insults, the subtle political maneuvering was conducted through the silent, complex language of the fan. Historians and sociolinguists still gently debate the psychological burden this placed on participants. Did it lead to heightened awareness and intellectual agility, or to constant anxiety about misinterpretation and social faux pas? A strange and specific detail that you observe is how the speed and rhythm of the music subtly influence the pace of the fan conversations. During a slow, romantic waltz, the fans move with a languid, deliberate grace, allowing for long, drawn-out signals of affection. But during a fast, energetic minuet, the fans snap and flutter with a quick, almost frantic energy, conveying rapid-fire insults or urgent invitations for a stolen moment on the balcony. The fan is not just speaking, it is dancing to the rhythm of the ballroom. Lady Beatrice, ever watchful, stands beside you, her own fan a blur of elegant, almost invisible movements, as she engages in a dozen different silent conversations. She gives you a subtle nod, indicating a handsome young duke who has been covertly watching you. You respond with a timid, almost imperceptible turn of your half-closed fan, signaling I am curious. A cautious invitation, he replies with a slow, deliberate twirl of his fan in his right hand, indicating I wish to speak privately with you. The game is on. The air in the ballroom is alive with these unspoken words. The vast, invisible web of desire and disdain, of intrigue and invitation. You are no longer just an observer. You are part of the web, your own fan. Its mother of pearl sticks cool against your hand is now a living, breathing extension of your own desires and ambitions. The grand ball is not just a party. It is a battleground, a stage, and a secret society, all woven together by the complex, beautiful, and utterly silent language of the fan. The humiliation of your fan faux pas with the captain lingers, a burning ember of embarrassment in your memory. Lady Beatrice, with her usual ruthless efficiency, orchestrates a series of subtle apologies, carefully worded compliments delivered through intermediaries, a conspicuously warm smile during a group curtsy, all designed to mend the unintentional offense. Slowly, the social wound begins to heal. This experience, while mortifying, has also taught you a deeper lesson. The fan is indeed a powerful tool, but its power lies not just in declaring affection or conveying disdain. It lies in its ability to facilitate truly secret communications, to arrange clandestine meetings, to exchange messages that no one else must ever know. This is the advanced art, the one that makes the fan not just a social accessory, but a silent co-conspirator. Now, my dear, Lady Beatrice says, her voice dropping to a low, conspiratorial whisper during one of your private lessons, we shall learn to truly speak in riddles, to use the fan to arrange what cannot be spoken aloud. She teaches you the gestures for a clandestine rendezvous, the fan held by the right hand. Touching the left ear, I wish to get rid of you. This is for unwelcome suitors, but the fan held by the left hand. Touching the right ear, I desire to be rid of my companion, and speak privately with you. This, my dear, is an invitation to a secret meeting. You practice this. It requires precision. The wrong ear, the wrong hand, and you could be dismissing the very person you wish to invite to a stolen moment in the garden. The gestures are small, almost imperceptible. They are meant to be seen only by the intended recipient, often a lover or a co-conspirator, whose eyes are constantly searching for your silent signals. This function of the fan as a tool for secret, even illicit, communication is a well-documented aspect of its history. In an era of strict social controls, elaborate chaperonage, and arranged marriages, lovers often relied on these hidden codes to conduct their courtships. These subtle gestures were a form of rebellion against a society that sought to control every aspect of personal life. Historians of social freedom and resistance are fascinated by how oppressed groups often find ingenious ways to subvert dominant norms through seemingly innocuous means. A strange and specific detail about these clandestine fan communications is the development of even more complex, coded messages. Lovers might agree on a specific sequence of gestures to represent a time of day, or a number of steps to indicate a location. A quick flick, then a slow close, followed by a tap on the wrist might translate to midnight. By the fountain, the alone. These were personalized ciphers, known only to the two individuals involved, making them almost impossible for outsiders to decipher. Lady Beatrice shows you how to use the fan to convey urgency. The fan drawn across the eye, I am sorry. A quick, nervous flutter of the fan, then a sharp, almost imperceptible turn to the left, danger. We are watched. Do not speak. This gesture, when performed with genuine alarm, could save a reputation or even prevent a duel. You try the danger signal, your fan flutters, then turns. You imagine a sudden, unwanted appearance by an angry father or a jealous rival. It feels remarkably powerful to transmit such a critical message without a sound. The fan also becomes a tool for passing quick, coded information. A specific way of opening or closing the fan might indicate the presence of a hidden message tucked into a glove, or a note slipped into a flower. It is a silent network of whispers and secrets, all orchestrated by the subtle movements of silk and ivory. By the end of your lessons, you are not just a master of polite society. You are a mistress of intrigue. The fan is no longer just an accessory. It is a communication device, the tool for espionage, a silent conspirator in your pocket. You can now arrange illicit rendezvous, pass coded messages, and warn of danger, all with a series of gestures so subtle that only the truly initiated will ever know. You are wielding a power that is immense, invisible, and wonderfully, deliciously forbidden. The thrill of your silent duet with the masked courtier, the precision of your clandestine communication, lingers in your mind. The fan, a simple object of silk and ivory, has proven itself a powerful instrument, a key to unlock hidden desires and to conduct secret affairs. You hold it now, a beautiful piece of carved mother of pearl and painted satin, and for the first time, your thoughts drift not to its language, but to its very creation. You think of the hands that made it, not the gloved hands of the high-born ladies who wield it with such grace, but the calloused, anonymous hands of the artisans who crafted its intricate beauty. The fan, you realize, is not just a tool of social power. It is a masterpiece of hidden craftsmanship, a testament to countless hours of patient, specialized labor. Consider the sticks, the delicate framework of your fan. They are made of mother of minus pearl, gleaming with an iridescent luster, each one thin as a sliver of fingernail, yet surprisingly strong. These pieces did not simply appear. They were painstakingly carved from the shells of oysters and abalones, precious materials harvested from distant, sun-drenched oceans. You imagine the carver, a man bent over a workbench in a dusty, dimly lit workshop, his eyes straining, his hands moving with immense precision, cutting, filing, polishing each tiny stick until it is a perfect, smooth arc. He works with simple tools, a sharp blade, a fine file, a piece of soft cloth for polishing. His name will never be known to the ladies who hold his finished work, but his skill is embedded in every flawless curve, every polished surface. Then there is the pivot, the small, almost invisible pin that holds all the sticks together, allowing the fan to open and close with such smooth, fluid grace. It is usually made of brass or steel, tiny yet vital. The craftsman who makes this piece is a miniaturist, a master of delicate metalwork. His hands, accustomed to the finest clockwork, ensure that your fan will never catch or stiffen, that its opening will always be a soft whisper, its closing a precise snap. This is an incredible feat of engineering for your era, largely unnoticed, yet absolutely essential. This hidden labor, this anonymous artistry, is a common feature of many luxury goods in your time. The opulent lifestyles of the European aristocracy were built upon a vast, invisible network of skilled artisans, seamstresses, jewelers, and craftsmen whose names were rarely recorded, their contributions largely unacknowledged. They were the silent architects of elegance, the hidden hands behind the glittering facade of high society. A strange and specific detail about the mother of minus pearl used in fans is its highly toxic dust. The delicate carving produced a fine, shimmering powder that could cause serious lung ailments. Many of these anonymous artisans likely suffered from chronic coughs and lung diseases, paying a heavy price for the beauty they created. The fan you hold, so elegant and refined, carries a faint, unseen shadow of this hidden cost, a silent testament to the suffering of its makers. Next, you consider the leaf of your fan, the wide, painted silk that gives it its visual splendor. This piece is the work of a different kind of artisan, the painter. She sits in a brightly lit studio, her brush is delicate as a butterfly's antennae, her pigments mixed from ground minerals and plant extracts. She paints the pastoral scene, the shepherdess and her flock, the sun-dappled glade. Her hand is steady, her colors vibrant, her artistry breathtaking. She works in silence, perhaps humming a tune, her entire world focused on the tiny canvas before her. Her art will be admired by thousands, but her name will remain unknown. Then finally, the delicate lace or embroidery that often adorns the edges of the fan's leaf. This is the work of the lace maker, often a woman working in a small, cramped cottage, her fingers moving with impossible speed, creating intricate patterns from 1,000 tiny threads. Her eyes, strained by endless hours of fine work, create a beauty that is almost invisible in its delicacy. Historians of labor and consumerism oft ungently debate the true ethical implications of these luxury industries. Was the beauty of these objects worth the hidden cost of the human labor and potential suffering that went into their creation? Did the aristocratic consumers of these fans have any awareness of the conditions under which they were made? The evidence is ambiguous. Some were likely unaware, lost in their own world of privilege. Others might have simply seen it as the natural order of things, the necessary cost of elegance. You close your fan slowly, letting the sticks click together with a soft, final sigh. It is no longer just a tool for silent communication. It is a miniature library of human ingenuity and silent labor. Every curve, every gleam, Every painted detail whispers a hidden story of craftsmanship, of dedication, and of a world where beauty was often purchased at an unseen human cost. Your fan, a beautiful object in your hand, is a monument to all those forgotten hands that brought it into being. The thrill of your silent duet with the masked courtier, the precision of your clandestine communication, lingers in your mind. The fan, a simple object of silk and ivory, has proven itself a powerful instrument, a key to unlock hidden desires and to conduct secret affairs. You hold it now, a beautiful piece of carved Mother Midas of Minas Berland painted satin, and for the first time, your thoughts drift not to its language, but to its very creation. You think of the hands that made it, not the gloved hands of the high Minas-born ladies who wield it with such grace, but the calloused, anonymous hands of the artisans who crafted its intricate beauty. The fan, you realize, is not just a tool of social power. It is a masterpiece of hidden craftsmanship, a testament to countless hours of patient, specialized labor. Consider the sticks, the delicate framework of your fan. They are made of Mother Midas of Minas pearl, gleaming with an iridescent luster, each one thin as a sliver of fingernail, yet surprisingly strong. These pieces did not simply appear. They were painstakingly carved from the shells of oysters and abalones, precious materials harvested from distant, sun-drenched oceans. You imagine the carver, a man bent over a workbench in a dusty, dimly lit workshop, his eyes straining, his hands moving with immense precision, cutting, filing, polishing each tiny stick until it is a perfect, smooth arc. He works with simple tools, a sharp blade, a fine file, a piece of soft cloth for polishing. His name will never be known to the ladies who hold his finished work, but his skill is embedded in every flawless curve, every polished surface. Then there is the pivot, the small, almost invisible pin that holds all the sticks together, allowing the fan to open and close with such smooth, fluid grace. It is usually made of brass or steel, tiny yet vital. The craftsman who makes this piece is a miniaturist, a master of delicate metalwork. His hands, accustomed to the finest clockwork, ensure that your fan will never catch or stiffen, that its opening will always be a soft whisper, its closing a precise snap. This is an incredible feat of micro-minus engineering for your era, largely unnoticed, yet absolutely essential. This hidden labor, this anonymous artistry, is a common feature of many luxury goods in your time. The opulent lifestyles of the European aristocracy were built upon a vast, invisible network of skilled artisans, seamstresses, jewelers, and craftsmen whose names were rarely recorded, their contributions largely unacknowledged. They were the silent architects of elegance, the hidden hands behind the glittering facade of high society. A strange and specific detail about the Mother Midas of Minas pearl, used in fans, is its highly toxic dust. The delicate carving produced a fine, shimmering powder that could cause serious lung ailments. Many of these anonymous artisans likely suffered from chronic coughs and lung diseases, paying a heavy price for the beauty they created. The fan you hold, so elegant and refined, carries a faint, unseen shadow of this hidden cost, a silent testament to the suffering of its makers. Next, you consider the leaf of your fan, the wide, painted silk that gives it its visual splendor. This piece is the work of a different kind of artisan, the painter. She sits in a brightly lit studio, her brushes delicate as a butterfly's antennae, her pigments mixed from ground minerals and plant extracts. She paints the pastoral scene, the shepherdess and her flock, the sun-dappled glade. Her hand is steady, her colors vibrant, her artistry breathtaking. She works in silence, perhaps humming a tune, her entire world focused on the tiny canvas before her. Her art will be admired by thousands, but her name will remain unknown. And finally, the delicate lace or embroidery that often adorns the edges of the fan's leaf. This is the work of the lace Midas maker, often a woman working in a small, cramped cottage, her fingers moving with impossible speed, creating intricate patterns from 1,000 tiny threads. Her eyes, strained by endless hours of fine work, create a beauty that is almost invisible in its delicacy. Historians of labor and consumerism often gently debate the true ethical implications of these luxury industries. Was the beauty of these objects worth the hidden cost of the human labor and potential suffering that went into their creation? Did the aristocratic consumers of these fans have any awareness of the conditions under which they were made? The evidence is ambiguous. Some were likely unaware, lost in their own world of privilege. Others might have simply seen it as the natural order of things, the necessary cost of elegance. You close your fan slowly, letting the sticks click together with a soft, final sigh. It is no longer just a tool for silent communication. It is a miniature library of human ingenuity and silent labor. Every curve, every gleam, every painted detail whispers a hidden story of craftsmanship, of dedication, and of a world where beauty was oft unpurchased at an unseen human cost. Your fan, the beautiful object in your hand, is a monument to all those forgotten hands that brought it into being. Your mastery of the fan is now absolute. Your movements are fluid, effortless, conveying volumes with the slightest flick or pause. You are a silent order, capable of conducting complex conversations without uttering a single word. You are a true mistress of the invisible language. You have reached the pinnacle of your social art. And then, a new challenge appears on the horizon. A new figure arrives in your social circle, a young woman from a distant court, perhaps from Italy or Spain, a place renowned for its own passionate and subtle social customs. She is introduced to you at a formal reception, and her reputation precedes her. She is said to be a prodigy with the fan, a true virtuoso. Her name is Isabella. She is beautiful, of course, with dark, flashing eyes and an almost unnerving stillness in her posture. She carries a fan of black lace, simpler than your own, but she holds it with an air of profound, almost dangerous, confidence. You watch her as she moves through the room, and you feel a subtle shift in the social atmosphere. She is not merely observing, she is performing. You observe her. Her movements are quicker than yours, more decisive, less languid. The rapid, almost imperceptible flutter of her fin might convey a question. A swift, sharp tap of its sticks against her palm might be a challenge. She is playing the fan language not as a polite conversation, but as a silent duel, a rapid fire exchange of wit and will. This arrival of a formidable rival is a common trope in stories of social competition, reflecting the very real, high-stakes nature of aristocratic life. Status, reputation, and influence were constantly being negotiated and reaffirmed through these subtle displays of skill. Historians of social anthropology often study these ritualized contests as a way of understanding how power dynamics operate in societies where overt conflict is discouraged. A strange and specific detail about these fan duels is that they rarely, if ever, involve direct confrontation. The battle was fought entirely through subtle signals, through displays of superior wit, faster responses, or more devastating, yet undetectable, insults. The victory was often declared not by a public announcement, but by the subtle shift in social favor, the quiet admiration of onlookers, or the eventual retreat of the defeated party from the social arena. You find yourself drawn into a silent, unspoken competition with Isabella. At every gathering, your eyes seek her out. You watch her fan. She watches yours. It is a duel of silent wit, a strategic game played on the elegant battlefield of the ballroom. You try a subtle, complex signal. You open your fan quickly, then slowly draw it across your heart, then tap its sticks twice against your chin. You are conveying, I am surprised by your presence, and I question your intentions, but I am listening. It is a sophisticated challenge, a test of her interpretive skills. Isabella's reply is immediate and devastatingly clever. She opens her black lace fan, holds it wide for a moment, then slowly closes it, bringing the tip to her lips. And then, with a single, quick flick, she points it directly at the floor. The signal translates to "I am bored by your questions, and I find them beneath my notice." It is a silent, elegant, and utterly dismissive cut. You feel a flicker of admiration, followed by a sharp pang of frustration. She is good, very good. She is playing a different game, a faster, more aggressive one, and you realize you must adapt. Your graceful, languid style, honed over years, might be seen as slow, even hesitant, by this new, formidable opponent. The social circle watches, perhaps subconsciously, the silent tension between you. They may not understand the specific signals, but they sense the energy, the unspoken challenge, the subtle shifts in power. The dance of fans becomes a visible manifestation of this silent rivalry. The rivalry with Isabella becomes a constant, quiet hum beneath your daily life. She pushes you to be sharper, faster, more incisive. You study her movements, trying to anticipate her next silent strike. The fan, which had become a comfortable extension of yourself, is now once again a weapon, demanding constant vigilance and renewed strategic thinking. The unspoken competition has infused your social life with a thrilling, exhausting, and utterly silent intensity. The silent duel with Isabella becomes the defining feature of your social season. Every gathering is a subtle skirmish. Every exchange of pleasantries a covert battle of wits conducted through the precise movements of silk and ivory. She pushes you to be faster, more direct, to anticipate her elegant slights and counter them with even more sophisticated dismissals. One particular evening at a grand dinner party, the tension is almost palpable. You and Isabella are seated at opposite ends of the immense dining table, the flickering candlelight casting long, dancing shadows. The conversation is polite, even witty, but underneath it all, a silent war is being waged. She begins. As the port is passed, she takes her fan, holds it open, and slowly, deliberately, draws it across her forehead, her eyes fixed on the man seated beside her. This is a subtle, almost invisible gesture. It means, "Do not forget me," but the way she does it, with a languid, almost exaggerated grace, subtly implies that the person she is addressing is, perhaps, forgetful, or even insignificant. It is a soft, veiled insult, delivered under the polite cover of a simple fan movement. You see it, you feel the sting. She is mocking your reliance on more traditional, perhaps slower, gestures. She is declaring her superiority. You take a sip of your wine, allowing her signal to settle, to be absorbed. You do not respond immediately. That would be too eager, too obvious. Instead, you wait. The conversation moves on. A new topic is introduced. And then, as if an afterthought, you make your move. As a particularly dull, elderly marquis begins to drone on about the price of French lace. You lift your own fan. You open it with a sharp, decisive snap that just barely catches the candlelight. You hold it wide, covering your entire face for a split second, then lower it with a rapid, dismissive flourish, allowing your eyes, bright and direct, to meet Isabella's for a fleeting moment. This is your counter. The gesture translates to "I find this utterly tedious, and I reject your dullness entirely." But the sharpness of the snap, the speed of the lowering, and the directness of your gaze elevate it. You are not just dismissing the marquis, you are silently, unequivocally, telling Isabella that her own attempts at subtlety are, in comparison, slow and predictable. You are telling her that you see her game, and you are playing it faster and better. A fascinating, and often frustrating, aspect of these silent duels is their ephemeral nature. They leave no written record, no tangible proof. Victory or defeat is often decided by the subtle shift in the room's atmosphere, the unspoken acknowledgement among the keenest observers. This has led to a gentle debate among historians. How accurate are the literary accounts of these fan duels? Were they truly as intricate and as devastating as the diarists claim? Or were they embellished for dramatic effect? The truth is likely somewhere in the middle moments of high-minus stakes. Subtle drama that felt immensely significant to the participants, even if they were invisible to most. Isabella's dark eyes narrow. Almost imperceptibly, she gives her own fan a sharp, almost aggressive flutter. It is a sign of irritation, of being outmaneuvered. You have touched a nerve. You allow yourself a small, inner smile, hidden behind your perfectly composed expression. The duel continues throughout the evening, a relentless exchange of silent jabs and parries. She might use her and to subtly cut you out of a conversation, turning her back slightly while fanning, signaling you are not welcome here. You might counter by using your fan to draw the attention of a more powerful, higher-minus ranking gentleman, a silent invitation that subtly undermines her social standing. The intensity of these exchanges is exhausting. You return home in the early hours of the morning, physically tired but mentally exhilarated. You are learning to think on your feet, to anticipate, to respond with lightning speed and devastating precision. The fan, which was once a teacher, is now an extension of your own sharpened wit. The silent duel with Isabella eventually reaches a quiet conclusion. She does not leave the court in disgrace, but her initial, overwhelming social dominance begins to wane. Her aggressive style, once seen as novel, eventually tires the court. Your own subtle, elegant, yet equally sharp responses prove more enduring. You have mastered not just the language of the fan, but the delicate art of social warfare. And in the process, you have become a true force in your glittering, gossipy, and utterly ruthless world. Decades have passed since your silent duel with Isabella in the glittering ballrooms of Europe, the grand, intricate world of 18th-century high society, with its powdered wigs and its intricate social dances, has begun to fade into the memory of history. Your hair, once a youthful brown, is now threaded with silver, and your hands, though still capable, are perhaps a little slower than they once were. The social circles you once frequented are filled with new, younger faces. You still carry a fan. It is an old friend, a beloved companion. Its sandalwood stick smoothed by countless hours of handling, its silk leaf faintly faded from years of silent service. It is not a new fan, one of the fashionable, miniature designs that have begun to appear in the market. It is a grand, traditional fan, a relic from a different era. You find yourself increasingly aware that the secret language it once spoke so fluently is becoming a quaint anachronism. The new generation, with their more direct manners and their simpler fashions, no longer seem to understand the nuances of a fan held to the lips or a deliberate, slow closing. They still carry fans, of course, particularly in the warmer months, but they use them for the mundane purpose of cooling themselves, not for the intricate ballet of unspoken communication. You attend a public assembly, perhaps a late-season concert or an exhibition of new scientific marvels. The room is bustling with people, their voices louder, their gestures more expansive. You watch the young ladies, their fans fluttering rapidly, almost nervously. They are simply fanning themselves. They are not sending messages, or, if they are, no one seems to be reading them. You try a subtle gesture yourself. You slowly twirl your fan in your left hand, the old signal for we are watched. A young gentleman near you simply smiles politely, then turns to speak loudly to his companion about the marvels of the new steam engine. He saw the fan, but he did not understand the word. This gradual obsolescence of a once-vibrant social code is a common phenomenon in the history of communication. Languages, both spoken and unspoken, evolve and change. What was once deeply meaningful can become quaint, then forgotten. Historians and sociolinguists will later study these dying languages, trying to understand what was lost when a society stopped communicating with a flick of the wrist. Was it a loss of elegance, of subtlety, of a certain kind of social grace? Or was it simply a natural progression towards a more direct, less performative form of interaction? A strange and specific detail about this decline is the impact of new technologies. The invention of the telegraph and the growing use of written letters for even social correspondence, for example, started to make the immediate, real minus time, non-minus verbal communication of the fan less essential. Why rely on a silent code when you can send a telegram? You feel a quiet, gentle sadness. It is the bittersweet melancholy of watching a beautiful art form slowly fade away. The fan, which was once your voice, your shield, your weapon, is now becoming little more than a lovely piece of portable decoration. The subtle power it once held is diminishing, replaced by the louder, more direct forms of communication that characterize the new century. You walk through the assembly, your old fan held gracefully in your hand. You realize that you are one of the last masters of this invisible language. You are a living archive, a repository of a secret alphabet that very few others still understand. It is a lonely feeling, like being the last speaker of a dying tongue, but the knowledge is not truly lost. It lives within you. The years of practice, the lessons from Lady Beatrice, the quiet triumphs of a perfectly delivered silent insult or a subtly arranged rendezvous, all of it remains etched in your memory, in the muscle memory of your fingers, in the keenness of your observation. You stop by a window, looking out at the twilight city, your fan wrists half minus open in your hand. A familiar, comforting weight. You twirl it slowly, almost unconsciously, the movement a private whisper to yourself. And you smile. The language may be fading, but its lessons in observation, in nuance, in the power of the unsaid, will serve you for the rest of your life. The secret, after all, lies not in the fan itself, but in the knowing heart that wields it. The century continues its relentless march. The grand, intricate world of 18th-century European high society, with its powdered wigs, its hidden smiles, and its secret fan language, recedes further into the realm of history. You are an old woman now, living in a quieter, more subdued world. Your beloved fans, once the sharp instruments of your social art, are now carefully preserved in display cases, cherished for their beauty and their silent memories. You often sit by the window in the late afternoon, your own hands, perhaps a little gnarled with age, resting in your lap. You watch the young ladies of the new generation walk by on the street. They carry small, simple fans, sometimes made of paper, and they wave them openly, vigorously, without a thought to nuance or hidden meaning. They are simply cooling themselves. The silent ballet is over. The secret language has faded into a faint echo, a charming but quaint curiosity. You feel a quiet, gentle melancholy for the passing of such a beautiful art. It was a language of exquisite subtlety, a world where wit was conveyed with a flick of the wrist and passion with a pressed leaf. In a more direct, perhaps more honest, age, something precious has been lost. The very idea of communicating a complex emotion without speaking a single word seems almost impossible to the young people of today. They prefer shouting. This complete cultural shift from a world of elaborate, non-verbal codes to one of increasing verbal directness is a fascinating subject for historians of communication. Was the fan language truly a sophisticated form of expression, or was it merely a social gain, a symptom of a society obsessed with superficial politeness? Did its decline lead to greater honesty, or merely a loss of elegance? There are still debates, of course, among scholars who puzzle over these subtle shifts in human interaction. The precise meaning and social function of some very obscure fan gestures remain lost to time, known only to the ghosts of those who once wielded them. Sometimes, a curious grandchild will ask you about your fans, about the stories they hold. You will pick up your favorite. Its sandalwood sticks warm in your hand, and you will open it with a slow, practiced motion, the soft trestle of silk a whisper from the past. You will demonstrate a few of the old gestures. The fan held to the ear, I want to speak with you. The fan drawn across the forehead, do not forget me. Your grandchildren will giggle, perhaps, or look at you with wide, amused eyes. They will find it charming, delightful, but they will not truly understand its gravity, its power, its desperate, beautiful necessity in a world where women were often forced to speak without words. They will never know the thrill of a successful silent flirtation, or the satisfaction of a perfectly delivered, invisible insult. They will never know the feeling of having an entire secret conversation unfold in a crowded ballroom, right under the noses of the unsuspecting. But you have lived through it all. You learned the alphabet. You mastered the grammar. You became a fluent speaker of a dying tongue. The fan, which was once an intimidating symbol, became an extension of your own hand, a natural and effortless expression of your personality. It taught you patience. It taught you observation. It taught you the profound power of the unsaid. And those lessons, unlike the delicate silk of the fan, are eternal. You hold the fan gently in your hand, its lightweight a comforting presence. The memories are vivid, clear, and peaceful. The century has moved on, and so have you, that the beautiful, secret language you once spoke still lives within you, a silent symphony in your heart. And so, the story of the elegant, silent language of the fan drifts to its quiet close. The grand ballrooms, the hushed opera boxes, the subtle flickers of silk and ivory, you can let them all begin to soften now, their intricate details dissolving into the comfortable, quiet darkness of your own room. The unspoken whispers of love and intrigue, the silent gestures of wit and disdain, can all fade away, replaced by the gentle, rhythmic sound of your own breathing. There are no more social codes to decipher, no more secret messages to send. The precise angles, the delicate movements, the constant, vigilant observation, all of it can be set aside now. You can let your mind become as still and as quiet as a closed fan, its secrets safely tucked away, its work for the day complete. Let the graceful, silent dance of the past lull you into the peaceful, effortless slumber you deserve. The end of the article. Good night.